You used to be the person who checked on everyone. You noticed when someone went quiet. You noticed when their messages became shorter. You noticed when their voice sounded different. And before they even asked, you were already there. Hey, are you okay? For a long time, this felt normal. It felt like love. It felt like who you were. But then one day, something changed. You saw their name on your phone. You thought about checking on them. You even opened the chat. But your fingers did not move. Not because you hated them. Not because you stopped caring. But because something inside you felt tired in a way words could not explain. And the strange part is, you may still wonder how they are. You may still hope they are okay. You may still care deeply. But you do not reach out anymore. And this is where many people get it wrong. They think kind people go ghost because they become cold. They think kind people stop checking on others because they are angry, proud, or selfish. But usually, that is not the truth. The truth is quieter. Kind people often disappear after they have been emotionally tired for too long. They stop reaching out when their care starts feeling one-sided. They stop checking on others when their nervous system begins to say, I cannot keep giving from a place that is empty. At first, you may not even notice it happening. You still care. You still think about people. You still remember their problems, their fears, their moods, their little patterns. You remember who gets sad at night. You remember who hides pain behind jokes. You remember who says, I'm fine, when they are not fine. Your mind keeps tracking everyone, but your body no longer wants to respond. That is the first sign. Your kindness is still alive, but your energy is not. For a long time, you may have been the safe person, the strong one, the calm one, the one who listened, the one who understood, the one who could handle late-night messages, emotional outbursts, cold replies, and long silences. People may have praised you for it. They may have said, you always understand. And that can feel good, but it can also train your brain in a dangerous way. Your brain starts to believe that being loved means being useful. It starts to believe that your value comes from how much emotional support you can give. So you keep giving, even when you are tired, even when no one asks about you, even when you are carrying your own silent pain. This is how kindness can slowly turn into emotional labor. Emotional labor means you are not only dealing with your own feelings, you are also managing other people's feelings. You notice when they need comfort. You sense when they are upset. You choose your words carefully. You check on them before they fall apart. You make space for their emotions, even when no one makes space for yours. At first, this feels like love, but over time, the brain starts to notice a pattern. It asks, when I give care, do I also receive care? It asks, when I go quiet, does anyone notice? It asks, if I stop reaching out first, will this connection still exist? And sometimes the answer hurts, because when you stop checking on people, some people do not check on you. When you stop caring the relationship becomes silent. That silence teaches your brain something painful. It teaches your brain that the connection may have depended more on your effort than on mutual care. This is why kind people often do not go ghost suddenly. They disappear slowly. A small disappointment here, a forgotten message there, a hard day they never asked about, a moment where you needed support, but somehow ended up supporting them. Each moment seems small, but the brain does not only remember big pain, it remembers patterns. And when the same pattern repeats, your mind begins to protect you. This is not because you are weak. It is because your brain is built to learn from emotional cost. Your brain is always trying to predict what will happen next. If reaching out brings warmth, your brain says, this is safe. If reaching out brings distance, silence, or disappointment, your brain says, this costs too much. After a while, even thinking about sending a message can feel heavy. You may tell yourself, I should check on them, but your body feels blocked. You may feel guilt. You may feel sadness. You may feel like you are becoming someone you never wanted to be. But what is really happening is this. Your care system is still working. Your protection system has just become louder. Think of your kindness like a lighthouse. For years, it sends light into the dark. It helps other people find their way. It stands there through storms, through cold nights, through heavy waves. But nobody checks the power. Nobody repairs the glass. Nobody asks if the person inside the lighthouse is tired. So one night, the light becomes weaker. Not because the ocean no longer matters. Not because the ships no longer matter, but because the lighthouse has been running on emergency power for too long. That is what happens to kind people. They do not stop caring. They run out of safe energy to care from. And this is important because if you think you are broken, you will shame yourself. You will say, "Why am I like this?" You will say, "Why can't I just be the same person again?" But maybe the old version of you was not healthier. Maybe that version of you was just better at ignoring your own needs. Maybe you were not more loving before. Maybe you were more afraid of losing people. Sometimes being overly available is not just kindness. Sometimes it is a learned survival skill. Maybe early in life, you learned that peace came from reading other people's moods. Maybe you learned that love felt safer when you were helpful. Maybe you learned that if you stayed useful, people would stay close. So your brain built a rule. If I care more, I will be safe. But later in life, that rule can hurt you because not everyone deserves unlimited access to your emotional energy, and not every relationship should be held together by your nervous system. So what do you do when you still care, but you do not want to lose yourself? First, you name the hidden rule. Ask yourself, what did I think I had to do to keep this person close? Did you think you had to reply quickly? Did you think you had to check on them first? Did you think you had to always understand? Did you think you were only important when you were needed? This matters because the brain feels less trapped when a pattern becomes clear. A vague feeling becomes easier to handle when you can name it. For example, instead of saying, "I am a bad friend," you can say, "I believed I had to carry this friendship alone." That one sentence changes everything. It moves you from shame into awareness. Second, separate care from responsibility. You can care about someone without being responsible for their whole emotional world. This is hard for kind people because empathy can feel like a command. You see someone hurting and your body wants to fix it. But feeling someone's pain does not mean you must carry it for them. You can say, "I care about them, but I do not have to abandon myself to prove it." For example, if a friend posts something sad, your old pattern may say, "I must message right now." But your new pattern can say, "I care, and I will respond when I have the energy to respond honestly." That is not cold. That is balanced. Third, look for mutual effort, not perfect effort. Nobody can be available all the time. People get busy. People get tired. People have their own problems. So the goal is not to demand perfect attention. The goal is to notice whether care moves both ways. Do they ever check on you? Do they ask how you are? Do they notice when you become quiet? Do they make space for your life too? Because the brain feels safer when effort is shared. When effort is always one-sided, your brain stays alert. It keeps scanning. It keeps wondering. It keeps asking, do I matter here or only what I provide? That kind of uncertainty is exhausting. Fourth, create space with awareness instead of disappearing from burnout. Sometimes ghosting happens because you waited too long. You ignored your tiredness. You kept saying yes. You kept replying. You kept showing up. Then one day, your system shut down. Instead of waiting until you vanish, practice smaller boundaries earlier. Reply slower when you need time. Say, "I do not have the energy for a deep conversation tonight." Say, "I care about you, but I need some quiet right now." This teaches your brain that boundaries are not danger. They are choices. And when boundaries become normal, you do not need to disappear just to breathe. Fifth, do not obey guilt too quickly. Guilt is not always truth. Sometimes guilt means you did something wrong, but sometimes guilt simply means you broke an old role. If you were always the helper, resting may feel wrong. If you were always the listener, needing support may feel selfish. If you were always available, taking space may feel cruel. But discomfort does not always mean danger. Sometimes discomfort means growth. So when guilt appears, pause. Ask, is this guilt coming from my values or from an old role I was trained to play? That question gives you space, and space gives you choice. The deeper truth is this: kindness is like a bridge. A bridge needs support on both sides. If only one side keeps holding it, repairing it, and protecting it, eventually that side begins to crack. When kind people stop checking on others, they are often stepping back to see if the other side is there at all. They are not always trying to end the connection. Sometimes they are finally testing its weight. Some people will notice. Some people will reach back. Some people will ask, "Are you okay?" And some people will not. That will hurt, but it will also tell you the truth, because some people were connected to you, and some people were only connected to what you gave them. Learning the difference can feel painful at first, but it can also give you your life back. You do not have to become cold to protect your peace. You do not have to stop caring to stop overgiving. You do not have to explain your exhaustion to everyone who benefited from you hiding it. Maybe your silence is not the death of your kindness. Maybe it is the beginning of a kinder relationship with yourself, a version of you that still loves deeply, still notices, still feels, but no longer disappears inside other people's needs. Because real kindness should not require you to leave yourself behind. And sometimes the quietest message your heart can send is not to another person, it is to you. I matter here too.